At the risk of giving away a good trick, but also for the sake of encouraging others to get into making oscilloscope demos of their own, we here at Bus Era Collective would like to share some of our trade secrets. In this presentation, we'll explain how this can turn into this, using nothing more than this. This is SQ2, the internal name we've given to the bitmap to vector processing engine that we've been developing internally for the past 6 months or so. SQ2 began as a Perl script, and was later adapted into C, which led to a pretty dramatic speed improvement. So much so that it opened the doors to the batch processing of images, and ultimately the conversion of full motion video into a rasterized XY vector audio format. SQ2 is capable of taking any 1-bit monochrome PBM image and converting it into a small 48 kHz 8-bit stereo PCM wave file that, when played back on an XY mode oscilloscope, will produce an image lasting 1/30th of a second. This is accomplished by means of a simple audio splitter, where the left audio channel is used to control the position of the oscilloscope beam's x-axis, and the right audio channel is used to control the beam's y-axis. This effectively provides a canvas of 256 by 256 upon which to paint. When large numbers of these small bits of sound are chained together in sequence, the resulting image will appear animated, similar to how film and video accomplish the same illusion using persistence of vision in the human eye. For demonstration purposes, we'll be using a short song and dance number called Daddy's Song from the film Head, as performed by Davy Jones of the Monkees. We found that this video was particularly good at showcasing the strengths as well as the weaknesses of SQ2's rendering capability. Understanding why some parts of the video look reasonably good, while others look less than good, requires a thorough understanding of the various constraints in play. First and foremost is the cathode ray itself. At no point is the beam ever turned off. As such, it's important to keep the beam in constant motion, as the brightness of the phosphor is proportional to how long the beam spends on a particular part of the screen. It follows that in creating an image, the challenge becomes a matter of not just controlling where the beam goes, but more importantly, where the beam stays. Given the constraints of a 48 kHz PCM wave file encoded at 22 kHz per channel, 1/130th of a second worth of audio is enough to push the beam to a maximum of 1,600 different locations on the phosphor. If you're the algorithm and you're being tasked with painting an image on the screen, your job then is to decide which 1,600 locations would be the best ones to stop at, and do so 30 times per second. As an algorithm, SQ2 tries to accomplish this using a variety of different strategies. At its core, it will attempt to rasterize an image in one of 4 different directions, and do so boustrophodonically, like how an ox plows a field. The algorithm will randomly select a handful of stopping points to hit on each scan line, randomly skipping ahead, knowing that on subsequent frames, the beam will stop momentarily on other locations on the same scan line. The algorithm will also randomly skip ahead 1 or more scan lines, knowing that in subsequent frames, these skipped scan lines will eventually get painted. The cumulative effect of this approach is an image that looks almost glittery, in that only a handful of small flecks of the overall image are being painted per frame. The upside to this approach is, if the image to be drawn has relatively few stopping points, the resulting image will appear relatively crisp and readable. But as image complexity grows and the number of locations to light up becomes larger and larger, less and less time must be spent on any given location. In the case of a largely white image, the algorithm suffers terribly, as there are effectively too many places for the beam to stop at. There's simply too much real estate for the beam to paint, and not enough time to make it glow brightly. With these strategies in mind, we hope we've provided some useful inspiration to those seeking to build similar encoders, and welcome others in the demo scene to experiment along with us in this beautiful, strange, and unique visual medium. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Let the sadness pass him by.